Hello there. I'm getting into this like about a week early than I might have otherwise because I've been sitting around listening to a lot of music lately. So I actually have about 56 things to go through. I'll try to get them all done. I got some shout outs as well. The one I just listened to just a moment ago was Out of Africa. In fact, yeah, that's the last thing I listened to, and I just stopped it. I watched this thing on Gorillas, and so I went with Out of Africa and then Gorillas in the Mist later. It's a John Barry soundtrack. It's kind of got some similarities to Dances with Wolves a little bit. The Battered Ornaments. I like these albums from 1969. They're pretty interesting. I believe the tape might have been made in '69 too. It's hard to say, but it looks like a very old looking tape. But it was cool. Mantle, yeah, interesting band. Very unique sound. It's like it was definitely a year you can kind of tell was from '69. This is very cool. The Beatles. What's cool about this? You might have seen this before, but look at this. The CA. This means it's a Columbia House record club thing. Extremely rare. What makes it so rare is the fact that you can't even find. It's hard to find them. They probably get, overlooked a lot. So, but from the Beatles, people who know the rarities, they consider it to be one of, if not the rarest Beatles cassettes you can get. There's a standard Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs Magical Mystery Tour. I started saying something about the pads on these, and I was thinking but now that I'm looking at it more carefully, I think this might actually be the pad. I was complaining that maybe, I was like, well, this doesn't look like a Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs pad, but I think they might have introduced them later, not this, or not on the original run, which are the blue ones. Okay, and then Beautiful People, that's horrible. It's called If 60s Was 90s. Hendrix would rightfully be embarrassed about that if he had to hear that. It's a terrible attempt to incorporate 90s techno with Jimi Hendrix. This is a nice cigarette carton version of this. Might have been the greatest shape, but I like it anyway. It's Station to Station. I don't know if it's called it. Actually, it's not a cigarette carton version, but it's a cardboard version, I guess. Then I've got the Drum Corps International 1982 and 83. These were given to me. I was really happy to get these. They played great. I've known about most of these drum corps for a long time. I used to have the video for 82, and so I got to see the Blue Devils, the Chillerando roll, and things like that. 2/7 moves that they used to do. Madison Scouts. The Madison Scouts from Madison, Wisconsin in 82. They played Ice Castles, and they were really great. Very loud. And then 83, what did I like from 80? I liked a lot of these things. The Crossmen. I marched the Crossmen. And they played Russian Christmas music this year. They placed 7th place. The Knights show from 83, I was really curious about that one because they placed 9th at DCI Midwest, and they always griped that, remember they placed 16th at finals. To be honest with you, there's some out of tune moments in the show. I don't see that show really. Maybe it should have done a little better than 16th, but I don't know. I don't think it was a 9th place show. Then again, I wasn't listening to it. I have seen it though. One thing about the Knights is they're really into being knights. You might wonder there's all these other knights, the Blue Knights, the Black Knights, the Velvet Knights. Why do they get to be just the knights? But if you go on their page, all their jokes and all their stuff is about knights related. Anyway, this is a drum corps tangent that probably most people are not interested in. So I'll move on. This is an original Trilogy, Island Records. This one, The Few, this is K Records. Usually, if you get a K Record thing, it's they can barely play their instruments and stuff, and it seems first and foremost, they're about being friends, and secondly, maybe about being in a community, and then third, maybe is the musicianship or the songs. But The Few is actually really good. It's from 1985. I get anything. I get all the, I don't care, honestly. I get all the beat happening stuff, and I'm happy with it. This is a Mobile Fidelity again. It's a this is one of the first Mobile Fidelity things. I think it's from 1975. It's train sounds. So these are just the sounds immaculately recorded freight trains, and they sound completely different from each other. Like, so you get a real sense of how whoever was into this was really into trains and really into different train sounds. I think there's some packaging that goes along with it, but I've got that somewhere. I think I read all the liner notes to it. Anyway, Friday the 13th Part 5, that just came out. I don't know why I'm even bothering with the... It's okay. I don't think the thing is... it doesn't exactly scare me, but it's a little cheesy, actually. The Geyser thing is... It's got some early Icelandic bands like Thayer and Kukul, where like Thayer's like had Ziggy Balderson, who I kind of knew a little bit. Kukul had Bjork. I think both of them had Ziggy Balderson. Kukul had Bjork. I don't think Thayer had Bjork. The Grateful Dead from the Mars Hotel. I finally got a copy that has the pad intact, so I had to glue it back together. I finally got around to it. If you like, nobody likes the Studio Dead, but this Studio Dead album is really good, actually. Gremlins, yes, I had a friend who lived with in the co-op who every year he would get eggnog and he would play the Gremlins movie. I had already seen it many times, but he loves the Gremlins rag as well, so it was an enjoyable time. Hamasha, yeah, it's on the Malik soundtrack, but there's the theme from Hamasha is written by somebody else, so I put it here. And like, if anything's written by somebody else, I like to just put under a title and give them credit. All right, moving on. Hookfoot is another, like, whoever's writing the liner notes, or not the liner notes, the review that I read on the All Music Guide, didn't like this band because it didn't have, or this album anyway, because it didn't have Peter Brown, I think, or whoever wrote the lyrics or the music for Cream, some Cream songs. And that's cool. I guess maybe it's stepped down. I'll tell you what, I never heard Hookfoot and I really like the album. So that's one of those times where a comparison is the thief of joy or something like that. So that's how it was for that album. Index, though, definitely doesn't have anybody to compare them to. They are from 1967. I read all the liner notes too that finally got around to it. I got the album and listened to it a long time ago because it's a really interesting album for 67 with a song called Feedback on it. And I mean, yeah, it was like they're from Detroit. They have a person who appears to be the guitarist is, I think, the heir to the Ford Motor Company. So, and this is in Detroit, back in like the 60s. So they practiced in a mansion and stuff, I guess. But they are like a really excellent band anyway. They like, it doesn't seem to matter that, like, I guess, they don't all come from wealth, but like, it's interesting. Anyway, yeah, like, I guess they faded out or something, but I find them to be really interesting. It's like, there's just maybe about one step away or two steps away from, like, if you just hit the drums a little harder, you would have invented heavy metal. Or if you played like, more riffs or something, you would have invented heavy metal. But like, you need the context in order to be able to create something like heavy metal, I guess, Black Sabbath ultimately created heavy metal. Girls in the Mist, I already said. That's Jarre, who did a number of things, including Dead Poet Society and a few others. I'm going to have to make another recording here because I'm running out of time. It'll be quick. Well, it'll all seamlessly go together, so it won't matter to you at all, but I'll have to do more work. Shoot. USA, King Crimson USA really quickly. Original Island. And Kraftwerk Autobahn is the Philips version. I finally got a Philips Autobahn. I'll just show it really quick. Only 10 seconds I've got left. Then I'll come back. All right, back. And we come to something I just got, which I need to definitely give a major shout out to. John Gentner, I think is how you pronounce his last name. Now, John and I just had this epic trade, which I love. We've had another trade in the past, but I finally was able to just open it up for him to just look at whatever he wanted. And then I kind of got, he's like, what do I want? And well, all these Mother Love Bone things were there. And I just was like, you know what? I want the Mother Love Bones. And he obliged to me. So, and I like, he's such a nice person. He's such a nice guy that I started just getting really generous about it maybe. And, I don't know if I was too generous because these are pretty rare actually. In fact, I don't know who got the better end of this deal really, but I tried. I tried to make sure he was happy. He got like an old Jim Blossoms thing, which didn't play for me, but apparently does play for him. So he is thrilled. And I gave him a bunch of other stuff, which I hope he gets into, including like a Frippin' Eno and things like that. Just kind of stuff that I thought he might like, but I wasn't sure. But he can trade them if he doesn't like them. They're valuable if nothing else. As far as my Mother Love Bone here, I really liked the song, the good song. I kind of realized, I listened to all these and I realized, oh, you know what? This band has like, I've got their albums and it's been a long time, maybe since the 90s that I heard most of them. But like, I was like, oh, you know what? This band has like 1.5 good songs, maybe. Now you might be asking like, do I deserve to own this? Why do I even want it? But like, I'm fascinated with this because I know the myth of Andrew Wood. And like, I'm fascinated with people who turn people into like geniuses and stuff because they died. And suddenly they're a great genius because they died. I just out of curiosity, I was like, I watched The Professor. I watched a couple sort of like fawning sort of things about Andrew Wood. One was from the Professor Rock, he's kind of this guy who talks like this, and he's talking about Andrew Wood, and boy, if he just survived, he made this incredible song. It's one of my top 10 called Chloe Dancer. Just imagine how many great songs he would have come up with had he not died. Oh, and Professor Rock has like 1 million subscribers, so I don't feel that bad about making fun of him. But I have to say, chances are he probably would have maybe, I don't know, maybe come up with a couple more good songs. I mean, he would play music for 10 years in a band, and he kind of just came up with that song, and like that's it. Unless you like, I guess if you like Pearl Jam, then you might like those other songs, I guess, or you might like, I don't know, the Spin Doctors or something. But Kurt Cobain fell asleep at a Mother Love Bone show. By the way, the other irritating thing I've learned from the Professor of Rock is that it's apparently pronounced Mother Love Bone, which is just sounds like a dumb sex thing instead of like, I just thought it was Mother Love Bone, and I didn't know. It sounded like a dumb sex thing either way, but Mother Love Bone sounds even worse. Anyway, I'm very happy to get these trades. I really am. Like, I think they're very rare. They're a prized part of my collection now, and like I said, I am fascinated with those who elevate somebody into like a demigod status for having died. I think that's great. These in between here are Anna Malik, who I really like, Bollywood, and getting into like modern Bollywood and stuff. So I got, he showed off this. I think this one was the one he was really happy about. Yeah. So there you go. It's got, I think, this sort of a homemade-ish looking cover. You might be wondering why they're split. I filed the top ones under Malfunkshun, which is the, wait a minute, is this supposed to go here? 3rd of January, 9, okay. Yeah, no, this would be like right here. Anyway, and by the way, on the single soundtrack, Chloe Dancer, I love the single soundtrack. I've had it since high school. I absolutely adore the Chris Cornell songs on it and the other weird songs. It just has the total vibe. It's way better. I don't even think I've seen the movie like once. I could give a rat's about the movie. I don't care about the movie at all, but like the soundtrack though, it's defining. And I've owned it, I think, since it came out, because back in the day you could get something would come out and you could just find it like somebody would accidentally give it to somebody, but they'd want the CD instead, so they'd sell to the record store for nothing, and I'd buy it for $3.50 or something. So I've had it since it came out. Like I said, I could care less about the movie, but the sound, that song of my childhood or my high school years, I guess, is the Seattle sound of that movie, and that includes Chloe Dancer, which is a very nice song on the piano. Um, it's definitely their best song. Okay, so anyway, let's move on. I got another Emmett Rhodes Mirror. It was good. The Rolling Stones, Some Girls on Mobile Fidelity there. Let's see. This is a different version of Sloan here. Okay, some singles that I didn't get around to reading before now. Oh, Tommy, right. So I've known about, like, Tommy, speaking of drum corps, I've known about this version of Tommy with the London Symphony Orchestra, but for some reason I thought it came out in like 89, and apparently it came out in 72. Apparently Ringo is Uncle Ernie. I like Tommy. Tommy's very confusing to me because, I mean, like the lyrics are always like sort of been interesting and compelling. Like, for example, the song Pinball Wizard, for example, you take this person, he's a gang leader but they play pinball or something, and this took place in I think the 30s or 40s. Wait, 21 is going to be a good year, so probably in the late 30s, I guess. Anyway, he can beat my best. His disciples lead him in. He does the rest. Right. So he doesn't really walk, but he's really interested in mirrors and pinball machines. I don't know who first put him in front of a pinball machine or a mirror. And I like to think that this rival gang leader has like a gang of his best, which means maybe they specialize, and like one is really good at the lower flippers and then the other is good at like not tilting the machine or something. I don't know. But like Tommy, I guess, can do it all. And then like at the end of Tommy, they turn on him for no real reason other than he's kind of bossy or something. And I don't know why Uncle Ernie, the pedo chomo, is leading the camp. There's a lot of things I don't understand about Tommy. Why does Tommy not remember him? I don't know. And then I don't even know what. It's a weird thing. I've never seen, I don't know if there's a movie, but I've never seen, maybe I should try to watch the movie and just figure it out. Because like I was saying at the beginning of this rant here, that the Blue Devils played this, which is a drum corps, played this in 1990. And I love the music, and I loved how it was done. And the review of this, I went and go ahead and read the review of this, Tommy with the symphony, and the guy was saying, like, some people hate it because it's kind of cheesy or something, and some people love it. Or then he goes on to say why he loved it, and it was beautiful, but it's really just collapses under its own weight. It's really not very good. Because orchestras just don't rock. You just can't play, you can't play the stuff you would play for vocals or an electric guitar on it with stringed instruments. It does not work, or brass instruments for that matter. I could criticize some of these drum corps here for trying to do that too, like playing like melodies on horns, brass instruments. Anyway, there's something about this whole Tommy thing. I'm glad it exists, but it was very clumsy, very awkward, very cheesy, kind of like Andrew Wood. I'm just kidding, Andrew Wood. I'll leave you alone. Woodman Earhart is somebody I actually know who loves drones. He's always talking about drones, and like, what have you been up to? Well, I was listening to drones. So I've got a friend, and we do these little skits about him, and it always ends up talking about drones. Oh yeah, I should talk about the dream my friend had. Oh shoot, I'm running out of time. This is the Wozard of Is. It is Mort Garson. It's excellent. And finally, Frank Zappa meets the Runners of Prevention. This dream I had, this guy, Woodman, he was dying on a cross, but he didn't care because he's a hippie. Bye. Oh, all right. I guess I've reset it. I've deleted everything, so now I got another 10 minutes here. So I can tell you about the dream really quick. and The Wizard of Is, but mostly because I forgot this, which is The Roots of the Beatles. This was from Japan. It's from the same people that did the Synrom. It's the Synrom tape. What's neat about it is it's not the Beatles themselves, but it's a very long box set thing with a booklet, and it's the original artists who originally performed these songs, not the Beatles themselves. Anyway, finally, I don't really want to not talk about The Wizard of Is, because Wizard of Is is a pretty wild ride, and it's like one of the things I'm happy to have of Mort Garson. I think I've talked about him before. I've got the Plants one, I've got the Zodiac one, and I've even got Electric Lucifer. Is that what it was called? Or Black Mass? I forget what it's called, I'm sorry. Electric Lucifer might be, that's Bruce Hack. But anyway, I only discovered him about a couple of years ago, so. But it's the ultimate and first really dungeon rock thing I would call the Black Mass one. Anyway, yeah, the dream involving Woodman. My friend said that Woodman was being crucified and was all cool with it, and my friend kept trying to get him to like give a damn about, his life, and making sure, it just they're gonna sacrifice you right now. They're gonna kill you, and I was like, yeah, it's all right, If you knew him, it would be funny, but I guess you don't. In fact, neither of us have talked with him for about a decade, I think, but we still talk about him. He's a classic. And then Frank Zappa meets the M.O.P, Mothers of Prevention. This is one of these a very interesting little things that, that they just kind of put out at Barking Pumpkin, and was never meant for the public, but it's like, I have it, so it's like I have another Frank Zappa thing. And why not meant for the public? Why do things? Why make special albums that nobody gets to listen to unless you have the inside track? But I do. So anyway, that's the 56 things I've listened to. Or is it 58 now? No, I think it's 56. 56. There's more on the way, although this is a pretty dang good haul. Not all of it was collected in the last month, of course. There was a lot of things I just kind of read, but yeah, I've got to end this with a shout out to John once again for the Malfunkshun Mother Love Bone tapes, of which they're rare. I love them. Thank you so much. All right, and I hope people enjoy this. Whatever. Thanks again. Someday I'm gonna put all of my new stuff with all my old stuff and do a new video series with high recording equipment, and make it really entertaining that people really want to listen to it somehow. I don't know how to do that yet. Anyway, so that it's preserved on more than something like this. I'll see you in a month. Well, actually, I'll be posting hopefully my next scene from the movie. I want to do it next week. There's no reason why I can't. And then some drum corps stuff. And then something with tapes again in a month. I've got some good things coming to me. I want to get all the original. I got original demo of Bongzilla coming to me, which is a Madison band, stoner rock band, stoner metal band, I guess. And I happen to have all the other Bongzilla ones, which came out a couple of years ago. What else? Some video game things. And I got the new Aphex Twin. And I got the new Cure. Whenever they decide to put all those out. All right. See you next time. Bye.